This is my project, the digestive system. Okay, so number 1, you eat the food. You eat it. He's chewing it. Chew, 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 chew.
Otherwise known as mastication.
And his tongue and his teeth make a bolus and push it to the back of his throat, or the pharynx.
During this process, the saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase, which begins the process of food breakdown.
That bolus is then moved down the esophagus. Okay, this is the sternum, but the esophagus is up here. This is my esophagus. It's a circular tube-like shape. Then, using peristalsis, the esophagus moves food in rhythmic-like contractions down the esophagus and into the stomach.
I forgot to mention the esophageal sphincter, which is engineered to prevent food from going back up the esophagus and out the mouth, which we all know is very painful. But that is what it's for.
The stomach is a sac-like organ. Here it is. A sac-like organ that serves as not only a container for the food, but it also acts as a grinder and a mixer for everything that goes on inside. Okay, so the stomach is like a super strong sac-like organ. It's muscular and it excretes enzymes, super strong enzymes that break down the food to be able to make sure the body can get the nutrients out of it that it needs.
The stomach is also made of this rugae mucosa, which is these folds in the stomach that allow for the stomach to expand whenever there is an excess of food and also contract whenever there is not.
The stomach is made of the muscular walls. The muscular walls are lined with these tubules, or at least it has a couple tubules that are made out of like these 3 different types of cells, and they excrete gastric fluid and strong enzymes that break down the food that's in the stomach. Next, stomach portion also uses peristalsis. The entire digestive system basically uses peristalsis to move it through, because the food has to be moving, or else how do you get the nutrients? How do you get it to the right organs? Okay, after the stomach,
The food then is pushed through the stomach into the small intestine. So the small intestine is divided into 3 major parts. 1.
The duodenum is the first and shortest section of the small intestine. It is key to the small intestine's function of digesting nutrients and secreting the nutrients from the food that is passing through it. That nutrients that is taken from the duodenum is passed on to blood vessels, and that blood is taken throughout the body and used for other anatomical purposes.
2.
The jejunum is the middle of the 3 parts of the small intestine. It makes up 40% of the entire small intestine. The functions are absorbing water. It's the main absorber of water and of nutrients.
3.
The ileum functions the same as the jejunum. It is just a smaller section, and it's more of it's a leftover picker-upper. It picks up whatever the jejunum did not absorb or could not absorb in the time it took for the peristalsis to pass that section of the small intestine.
Here it is. You can't really see it that well. This is my rendition of the small intestine. In a live version, the small intestine is loosely coiled, and it can stretch over to 20 feet long. It's a loosely coiled muscular tube. Takes nutrients out of the food you're eating. The small intestine uses 1.
The liver is known to have hundreds of functions in the entire human body, but specifically in the digestive system, the liver functions in 2 main ways. 1, it stores and supplies bile for the digestive system, and 2, it purifies the blood from the small intestine that it's going to put into the bloodstream.
2.
The gallbladder is this tiny, tiny little thing in between it's kind of smushed underneath the liver and the small intestine. Only singular function is really just to hold excess bile produced by the liver, and whenever you are eating a meal, it contracts and excretes bile into the small intestine.
3.
The pancreas is an organ located in the digestive system. It is essential for converting the food we eat into fuel for the body's cells. The pancreas has 2 main functions, and that is an endocrine function that helps in digestion using strong enzymes. And the second is to regulate our blood sugar in the body.
And those are the liver, the gallbladder is up there, can't see it that well, and the pancreas. Next in line is the colon. Oh, sorry. That's the liver. Everything's falling apart. The colon is these eggs. They wrap around and they hang over the small intestine, basically. It's made up of 4 things. Well, first of all, it connects from the ascending right colon all the way down to the cecum, which is the end of the digestive tract, basically. So the colon is made up of the ascending right colon, the transverse colon, the descending left colon, and the sigmoid. Once the majority of the purpose of the large intestine is to also extract nutrients, but to mostly absorb water and liquid. So that liquid paste that came out of the stomach is now being, all the liquid is being absorbed, and it becomes this paste that you know as poop, right? You know, whenever you're pooping liquid, it is not a good thing or a good feeling. So, the large intestine, it takes out all the liquid, or what it can, and then once it takes out the liquid that it needs, or the water that it needs, and that transports all the nutrients that it takes to the blood, then that travels through the waste travels through the descending colon, and then waits. Once the sigmoid is emptied, then it travels into the sigmoid. And once the sigmoid is emptied, it travels into the rectum. And the rectum is basically the entrance to where it becomes mechanical, right? It becomes a system where you have the internal and external sphincters of the anus. And whenever your body says, yes, I am near a toilet, you can relax, the muscles relax, and the waste or poop or whatever is coming out of you will come out at that point. So yes, here is my fairly difficult to understand and fairly strange rendition of the digestive tract. I hope that it satisfies. And no, Mr. Jackson, I love you and I missed your class like heck, okay? I really wish that we could have finished out the year. There are some classes that I don't miss, that is very true, but your class definitely makes the cut. That you are the best teacher ever. The most fun I've ever had in a class was in your class, and I'm sad we only really got one and a half semesters together. Even though I was not the most respectful, I wasn't the most respectful outwardly, but you have my utmost respect. I hope you know that. Yeah. I'm gonna miss you, man. And hopefully COVID lets up and you get my graduation announcements. Who knows whenever those are gonna get out. But I hope I get to see you again. And I hope that you don't forget about our class. And I hope that you know what kind of awesome impact you've had on my life. You've been such a role model and a trusted adult, and it's just been such a wild ride in your class. I'm gonna miss you.